Now at 6, education spending in the spotlight. What happens now and the back and forth about the money for education.
The potential closure of Mary Siah Public Pool causing conflict in the Fairbanks North Star Borough.
And 7 years in a shelter coming to an end. How a family is creating a new life for a dog desperate for a new beginning.
And temperatures are warming to a new normal. I'll let you know how long the warmer trend will last.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Good evening. Tonight, with less than 1 month left in the session, a veto override failure. Now, that means that the urgent question of how will Alaska's schools be funded, that remains unanswered.
And Beth Verge continues her Capitol coverage. Lawmakers expressing concern, Beth, during the vote as they head back to the drawing board now.
Well, Rebecca, John, state lawmakers rejected a veto override of the legislation that would have increased the per-student funding amount by $1,000. House Bill 69 ended up in what lawmakers have repeatedly called a stripped-down version. No other policy provisions, just that dollar amount contained within it. Now, as he promised via social media about a week before actually doing it, Governor Mike Dunleavy went on to veto that bill, introducing his own version of education funding legislation that same day. As for today, though, here's what some of the lawmakers had to say as they were getting ready to put their votes on the record.
I don't think there's one of us on either finance committee that truly believes we're going to have more money next year than we have this year. So let's take a little bit of the bitter medicine a piece at a time. Let's not set ourselves up where we have to cut the BSA for the first time in history. I don't want to be in a position to do that. I want to be in a position to slowly, incrementally fund it.
I was sent here to support education. If I have one job to do, that job is to support education in our schools. So I'm here to do that job, and I will do it today.
This measure, House Bill 69, would support all of our schools, whether it's a charter school, a neighborhood school, or a correspondence school. No one would be left out. No one would be harmed. Everyone would be helped and lifted.
None of this can happen if we can't afford it. We need to take our heads out of the sand, look at the fiscal realities that we live in today, and do what the people have sent us down here to do, to balance this budget. That's the only single thing that we are required to do.
Now, the governor proposed his own education funding bill for the coming budget year, as I mentioned previously. That legislation does include a $560 increase to the BSA and several other measures specific to correspondence programs and charter schools that his office says would cost about as much as a $700 BSA increase. Rebecca, John.
All right, with the funding question now an open one, districts across the state who have already made cuts are left figuring out what to do. Late this afternoon, Anchorage's superintendent telling board members that they have to clearly communicate to lawmakers they do not have an $88 million pot of hidden money, as some in the public have claimed. That comes as a new internal report shows the Anchorage School Board, ASD, is at risk of not meeting its goal of providing mental health services in elementary schools.
Now, the guardrail monitoring report is part of tonight's school board meeting. We'll show you what members have to say about the budget crisis, new tonight on the late edition.
Now, because all these budgets are so reliant on taxes from Alaska crude oil prices, we do continue to watch the stock market. Saw a big surge today. That came after the Treasury Secretary told investors at a closed-door event he expects a de-escalation in the trade dispute with China. The Dow closed up more than 1,000 points. The NASDAQ and S&P also up, helping to recover Monday's market losses.
And Alaska crude prices also closed higher. The Alaska Department of Revenue says per barrel prices were $70.17, up by $1.07. State revenue forecasts base this year's budget on a price of $74.48 per barrel. Next year's budget is based on $68 per barrel.
And at the regular Anchorage Assembly meeting tonight, April's municipal election will be certified. The newly elected members are expected to take the oath of office and will be assigned to their committees. The Assembly will also consider a ban on kratom. The ordinance would criminalize the possession, sale, recreation use, and distribution of the herbal substance. Again, more to come tonight on the late edition.
And it's been a sunny day across South Central, but we have gotten some sunshine pouring into the windows this afternoon.
That's right. Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry tracking the storm. Any more rain coming our way, Melissa?
Yeah, we do still have a few showers in the area, especially as you head on the Kenai Peninsula. Those are going to rotate through here overnight tonight, but we do have some drier and sunnier conditions in our near future. 51 right now in Palmer, 49 in Wasilla. You can see that sunshine bright in Eureka. A few showers just outside of Anchorage and into Kenai, 40 degrees there. This next area of low pressure, again, pushing in from the south. That will bring heavy rain to Prince William Sound late Wednesday and even more so into southeast as we head into the second half of your Wednesday, continuing into Thursday. But in behind that storm, drier conditions for the rest of South Central and holding on to dry conditions for the interior of the slope and most of the western side of the state. We do have another storm system on the way, but doesn't get here until the very end of the week. So Anchorage overnight tonight, again, a few isolated showers still in the area. We'll see temperatures holding in the mid-30s overnight, getting right back up into those upper 40s tomorrow. And again, if you're headed out and about this afternoon and evening, I guess we're at evening at this point, right? We'll see a few sun breaks out there, but again, improving conditions. So get those sunglasses ready and make some plans tomorrow and Thursday with more sunshine in the forecast. I'll have a closer look at your full 7-day, what you can expect for the rest of this week and next week here in a few minutes.
Thank you, Melissa. The Mary Siah Recreation Center in Fairbanks could close. Fairbanks officials amended next year's budget, voting to close the center. It's not final until the budget is approved. The center was a big topic in 2018 because of expensive renovations. And the borough considered demolishing the building, but after outcry, building improvements were approved, happening between 2020 and 2021. Assembly member Dave Guttenberg talked about how this could impact Fairbanks.
That 2 or 3 degree difference in water is a huge difference for the seniors and the children that use it for those facilities. So until we have a plan in place to replace it, I'm not going to be supporting closing it.
I think that we continue to put money into a facility that's on its last leg, and the money that we have put into this could have been put into a fund that could be used for our plan.
Now, at that same meeting, the Assembly voted against closing Carlson Activity Center and Joy Community Center. The budget, as amended, will go up for public hearings on May 1st. The vote expected May 8th. Now, if that amendment closes, the center remains in the budget, it would shut down July 1st.
And still ahead, the newest edition of the NYO Games Alaska set to get underway.
We're live talking with the competition's head official as hundreds of athletes hope to make their mark in history.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Well, the annual Native Youth Olympic Games are coming up fast. They're going to be held from Thursday through Saturday at the Alaska Airlines Center.
Joining us now is NYO's head official, Nicole Johnson. Thank you for being here tonight. Of course, could you talk about the importance of an event like this for Alaska?
Well, these are games that have been around for literally hundreds and hundreds of years. And they're games that prepared our Indigenous people of Alaska to survive, for survival skills every single day. Everybody had to rely on each other. They had to play games to help develop the skills and the friendships that they needed to keep their communities healthy and thriving.
Well, and just discussing this year's competition, anything change, any new events or anything different?
We don't have any new events, but last year we added a game called the toe kick, which had been out of the competition for about 10 years. We had been rotating a few events in and out, and one of the events needed to be rotated out. And now we're not taking any games out, and we're going to keep that game in this year. So we'll have 11 events over the next 3 days.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I always think it's like super amazing how real-world situations like these games, how they translate into these games. Could you give us a few examples, maybe your favorites, as it connects to Alaska Native culture?
The games that they played were games that help build strength, endurance, agility, concentration, all survival skills that they needed for everyday life before they had all of this wonderful stuff, the houses, the snow machines, and everything. So each of the games that is played for a specific reason. For example, we have the Inuit stick pull. Hunters traditionally had to stand above a hole in the ice and wait for a seal to come up for air, and when the seal came up for air, the hunter would harpoon the seal, and when the seal died, they would have to pull the seal up out of the water up onto the ice. So the Inuit stick pull is that test of strength and endurance. It's a double elimination event. We have over 40 athletes in that event this year, and they will compete for about 2 hours. And if you get into the loser's bracket, you can actually work your way all the way back up to the winner's bracket. And if you beat the winner, then we have an if match. And then that determines who the winner is. There are so many different games. My personal favorites are the 2-foot high kick, the Alaskan high kick, and the kneel jump. All 3 games are games that really are difficult to do and require a lot of concentration, agility, and they're amazing to watch.
So fun, so important to the culture. How can people join in the fun this weekend?
So we will be at the Alaska Airlines Center starting at 11 o'clock. We have our cultural performance, followed by the opening ceremonies, the toe kick, the wrist carry, and then the Alaskan high kick, and that's on Thursday. You can also go to nyogames.com to look at our schedule and get more information about NYO and what it really embodies community.
Awesome. Nicole Johnson, head official for NYO, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.